Today we'll get into a handful of topics from Maria exposing WWE to Jeff Hardy's WWE status and Edge's future. So let's get into it. Starting off with Maria and Mike Kanellis. With Maria and Mike Kanellis being released earlier this year, it's officially safe to say that their few years back in the WWE was a bit underwhelming, to say the least. Maria and Mike first appeared on WWE television back in 2017. Of course, this was Mike's first real run-in with WWE, but it wasn't Maria's first time with the company. Maria first debuted in the WWE during the early 2000s. Maria served as a backstage interviewer and slowly transitioned into an in-ring competitor. Maria had a sweet, bubbly, and clueless persona to her character that really made her a fan favorite. She stood out from the rest of the WWE women's roster and had a real unique character. Unfortunately, WWE and Maria went their separate ways a handful of years later, and that's when Maria met her husband, Mike Bennett, outside of the WWE. Maria and Mike, who were both obviously wrestlers, decided to take their relationship on screen, and they started traveling all over the world, from company to company. Maria and Mike had a successful run in New Japan, and even made some noise in Impact Wrestling for a while as well. The hype around the couple was getting so big that WWE started to take notice of them and wanted to sign them. Maria and Mike signed with the WWE and made their first appearance in 2017. Some WWE fans expected a lot from Maria and Mike. You see the success that Karrion Kross and Scarlett are having right now? That's what some fans expected to see from Mike and Maria, but obviously that never happened. Maria and Mike debuted with this weird gimmick that's hard to really explain. I guess their gimmick was that they were a couple that was madly in love. It was really complicated and never went anywhere. They were assigned to Smackdown and had a few feuds towards the start of their WWE run, but things quickly went in the wrong direction for them. Maria was quickly taken off of television after announcing her pregnancy, and Mike was gone as well because he was going through a rehab program. Then the couple were frustrated and wanted to be released from the company. However, a few weeks passed, and then we were hearing the news that they signed a massive 5-year extension because WWE had made promises to actually use them on TV. We started to see the start of that push last year. Maria and Mike returned and were constantly on TV week after week. But during that push for them, Maria announced on Raw that she was pregnant again. Maria would disappear shortly after that announcement, and Mike went missing as well right after her. WWE then released the couple in mid-2020 as a part of their budget cuts for the pandemic. So that brings us up to date. Now let's look into how Maria is exposing the WWE. The couple was released 2 months after they welcomed their second born. The release was a complete shock to Maria because she claims that she specifically asked for WWE's blessing on having another baby, and WWE had no issue with it. Fast forward a few months later, and they're basically fired, and their massive extension is terminated. In a now deleted tweet that started up a massive wave of discussion, Maria had this to say: "Did you ever hear the one about the woman that was released from the WWE during a pandemic 2 months after being told having another baby wasn't an issue? Hashtag more on that later. Hashtag only wrestling company that released people." This tweet started a huge back and forth battle between Maria, Mike, and the fans. Maria did bring up some good points, and so did the fans. The fans noted that no person should have to ask their employer about growing their family. Maria also mentioned how WWE was the only company to release talent during the last few months, and that's true as well. No other company has had to make budget cuts to their roster the way WWE had to do in the last few months. I think the reason behind that is because WWE was a little reckless with their budget pre-pandemic. They were giving Brock Lesnar all these millions for like 3 matches a year. They gave Goldberg a couple million just for 2 matches. It was even reported that they gave professional boxer Tyson Fury $15 million for his 1 match recently as well. Just so reckless in throwing these millions of dollars at these outsiders like Tyson Fury, when that same $15 million could have been used to save superstars' jobs during the start of the pandemic. So that's just my personal opinion on why WWE was the only company to make cuts. They just pay out so much money to these big part-time stars that it ended up really hurting them this past spring. Maria responded to one fan and said, "Don't hate WWE. I don't hate any company. I understand that change is slow, but I also want better and more, so I continue to fight and tell my story. More on that soon." Mike also tweeted and said that WWE had nothing to do with his rehab and it was on his own decision. Another fan asked what was exactly promised to them when signing, and Mike said that there wasn't much promised to them the first time, but when they re signed the huge extension, a lot was promised. And that's what played a huge role in them signing the deal, even though they were unhappy at the time. After hours of going back and forth with fans on Twitter, Maria said that this isn't the place to share her story and that she will be sharing the rest of the story on a much bigger platform. So it looks like there's more to come from Maria and Mike. Next up, we'll be taking a look at Jeff Hardy's WWE status because this is getting a bit interesting as well. Jeff Hardy will be 43 years old in August, and obviously he's coming towards the end of his in-ring career. Jeff Hardy returned to the WWE alongside his brother Matt. So why is Matt gone and Jeff is still stuck in the WWE? Well, when AEW was really getting started and signing a lot of talent, it looked like WWE didn't want any of their superstars signing with AEW. WWE was no longer releasing any superstars and was just freezing the contracts of injured superstars, meaning that if you were injured for 6 months, your contract is frozen and you'll have to serve those 6 months when you return. That's what happened to Jeff. If he never got injured, then his contract would have been up at the same time as Matt's. But since he was out for a handful of months last year, he now has to serve those months in the ring right now. So technically speaking, Jeff probably has several months left on his contract, and the discussion has started to pick up. Could Jeff Hardy be heading towards AEW once he serves these few months of his frozen time? That's a big theory going on right now. The fact that Jeff lost at Backlash has everyone thinking that WWE will probably continue to bury him until his last day of this contract. That's something that WWE did to Matt Hardy earlier this year. He was getting squashed by everyone on Raw and was even walking around in a neck brace at one point. So many are fearing if this same sort of thing could be happening to Jeff. Reports claim that even though the possibility of Jeff Hardy going to AEW is still there, it doesn't look like he will be buried by WWE at this current time. His loss at Backlash was likely done just to continue a feud and storyline, but we'll see how that plays out and if AEW will actually be in Jeff Hardy's future. Next up is Edge. Edge had one of the most unexpected miracle returns earlier this year. After what Edge went through nearly 10 years ago, we all thought we'll never see him wrestle again, but he returned and did the impossible. Unfortunately, Edge has been injured again and will be out of action for the rest of the year, which is horrible. With Edge's previous injury and now his new injury, Booker T asked Edge about his plans to retire and if anything has changed. Edge had this to say about the situation. "I want to finish it on my terms. I'm really stubborn on that in this run, I guess. I really want to, with this, try and show that selling still sells. I feel like that's been lost. Don't get me wrong, I'm guilty too. You can watch the TLC matches and say, but, and I get it. I was young, and I was there and I did it. I was always told by the Steve Austins, by the takers of the world, hey man, if you just slow down and try this and that and this and that. When I started doing that, that's when I started making real money." Edge's current deal was reportedly a 3-year deal with limited dates, so the Hall of Famer will be with the WWE for the next few years and then will probably have to make a hard decision of extending the deal or retiring on his terms. WWE had a lot of big things planned for Edge during the back half of 2020, including a big role in this year's SummerSlam. This year's SummerSlam will be held at the Performance Center, but WWE still planned on making it feel special with some big matches. Edge was supposed to be one of these big SummerSlam matches, but obviously he's unable to compete. But if Edge's recovery goes smoothly, we could see him return by early 2021. We're wishing Edge a speedy recovery and can't wait to see him pick up from where he left off. Edge definitely showed that he can still put on amazing matches, so we can't wait to see more from him. What are your thoughts on all of today's stories? How do you feel about Maria's comments about WWE, Jeff Hardy possibly on his way to AEW, and Edge's retirement plans? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.